Mr. True Nightmares, Episode 25. In that small town, everyone used to say that the old mansion on the outskirts of the forest was filled with ghosts, but the young adventurer Alice didn't believe in these rumors. To her, ghosts could only exist in fairy tale and ancient legends. One day, Alice and her friends decided to camp in the forest outside the town. They were going to build a campfire and have a fun night. However, the shadows around the campfire began to disturb the young adventurers. Alice noticed the tension among her friends, but it would be too late to understand what was wrong. As the night progressed, strange sounds started coming from the depths of the forest. At first, they dismissed these sounds as the rustle of the wind or the normal noises made by animals. However, the sounds became louder and more disturbing. Alice gathered her courage and decided to walk into the forest. While others hesitated, she advanced among the dark trees. A deep silence enveloped her, almost intoxicating. However, laughter shattered the silence. The shadows around Alice suddenly began to move, as if they had come to life. Then strange figures emerged from the old mansion. Pale lights filtered through the windows, but the building seemed abandoned for years. The figures walked towards Alice, approaching the mansion store. These figures resembled the ghosts of those who had once lived in this town. Their eyes were empty and expressionless, but Alice sensed a kind of deep pain and sorrow within them. The ghosts circled around Alice, as if telling her an ancient tragedy. Alice paused among the shadows and looked into the eyes of these ghostly figures. Suddenly, a mist surrounded her, and Alice felt like she was sent back to the old days of the town. The streets were crowded, but at Ryan's face was as pale and expressionless as death. The ghost began to tell Alice about the dark past of the old mansion. The inhabitants of the mansion had fallen victim to a terrible tragedy, and their spirits were waiting for the help of the townspeople to find peace. However, as the years passed, the townspeople forgot and abandoned the mansion. Alice felt a deep sadness from the story. The ghosts told her a desire to do something to soothe the restless spirits of the town, and the mansion awakened in her heart. From that day on, Alice did her best to soothe the restless spirits of the town. However, those who ventured into the forest at night still claimed to hear strange sounds among the ghostly figures in dark shadows. Sometimes a melancholic melody echoed from the depth of the town, and the townspeople believed that the ghost of the past had finally found peace. But Alice, after her experience in the forest that night, never returned to the town. She somehow had a connection with the ghost of the old mansion, and her duty was to soothe them. Since that day, she disappeared into the depths of the forest, leaving no trace of what she had experienced. And ever since, the townspeople tell the story of a young woman who wandered among the ghostly figures and dark shadows in the forest. Sometimes those who take a night walk in the forest claim that Alice disappeared with a melancholic melody. The town, still carrying the traces of frightening stories and forgotten ghosts, is remembered as a mysterious and chilling place at night. In a small village deep within the forest, there stood an old, abandoned house that the villagers believed to be cursed. Rumors spread about the eerie lights that emanated from the house at night, accompanied by the howling wind. However, no one truly knew what went on inside. A group of brave youngsters decided to unravel the secrets of this mysterious house. One night, the group arrived at the front of the old house. Within the dark forest, the door creaked open, and as they stepped inside, cold air seeped through the cracked walls. Yet what was stranger was the peculiar silence that dominated the interior. The team began exploring the rooms of the old house. With each step, their footfalls echoed on the creaky floor. In one room, an old piano stood, and it began playing by itself. Notes echoed through the house as the youngsters exchanged bewildered glances. glasses. Suddenly, a pale silhouette appeared in the corner of the room. After gazing at the youngsters for a while, the figure began to sing a haunting melody. However, the song narrated the tragic death of someone who once lived in the village. The youngsters realized that the spirit was a ghost of one of the villagers. Filled with memories of its past era, the spirit was trying to uncover the secrets left behind after its death. Yet these secrets revealed the horrifying truth. As the youngsters continued to run through the house, they encountered a series of strange events. They brought together the ghosts of the old villager. Each ghost told a secret left behind after their death, and these secrets needed to be pieced together to unveil a dark mystery. As the night progressed, strange sounds and shadows intensified within the house. The ghosts guided the youngsters toward their tragic fates. However, with each step, the mysterious house revealed an even darker past. Finally, the horrifying truth emerged. The curse of the house originated from a gruesome crime committed by one of the villagers. This crime explained why the ghosts couldn't find peace and why the former residents still lingered in the village at night. When the youngsters learned this truth, they felt a deep pain in the eyes of the ghosts. However, this knowledge helped the old ghosts find peace. At last, there was a moment when the ghosts quietly disappeared, and the village experienced a peaceful night. For the first time in a long while, however, from that day on, villagers claimed to hear strange sounds when passing around the mysterious house, and sometimes the old melody returned with the wind. The rooms inside the house occasionally still carried traces of the lives of the former ghosts, becoming a local legend. Ruth, a woman living near a quiet and secluded pond, found herself caught in a series of peculiar and unsettling dreams lately. In her dreams, an old boat would appear in the middle of the pond, and an ancient puppet figure standing inside the boat would gaze at her with an intense and silent stare. These dreams disturbed Ruth, as each night the puppet figure seemed to draw a bit closer, attempting to communicate something. One night, as the puppet figure approached her in the dream, a strange light illuminated the water around the boat in the middle of the pond. This light distorted the shadows of the surrounding trees, making them elongated and shapeless. In her dream, Ruth felt as if she were in a dimension beyond reality. The next day, Ruth, attempting to comprehend the bizarre dream, walked towards the pond. However, the pond appeared calm and seemingly ordinary. The wind caused gentle ripples on the water's surface, but nothing else seemed out of the ordinary. Nevertheless, throughout the day, the shadows of the trees in the atmosphere around the pond acquired an increasingly peculiar and mysterious air. That night, the puppet figure appeared again in Ruth's dream, closer and more defined this time. The puppet began narrating a story of an ancient city submerged beneath the depths of the pond. The city had been forgotten over time, buried beneath the water, but its spirits still roamed the depths. Ruth tried to decipher the meaning of this story. In her dream, the puppet figure requested her help to bring peace to the spirits of the ancient city submerged beneath the pond. The pond seemed to respond to a call, echoing from the depths of time. That night, Ruth decided to plunge into the waters of the pond. As she descended into the depths, she began to see remnants of the ancient city and the lost spirits beneath the water. The spirits smiled greatly at Ruth, revealing their hidden world beneath the pond's surface. After bringing peace to the spirits of the ancient city, the waters of the pond gradually calmed, and the mysterious atmosphere dissipated. Ruth felt that the shadows of the trees around the pond no longer held their former enigma. The puppet figure in her dreams smiled, as if expressing gratitude, and then vanished beneath the waters of the pond. Since that day, Ruth believed the pond to be a tranquil and serene place. Yes, sometimes, during her walks by the pond, she felt the presence of the puppet figure from ancient times, still lingering in the depths of the water.